On January 16, 2026, Prime Minister Mark Carney and Chinese President Xi Jinping stood side by side in Beijing, unveiling a landmark trade agreement that many had thought impossible just a few years earlier. This historic deal brings an end to years of economic conflict and uncertainty, which had strained not only trade but also diplomatic relations between the two nations. The agreement reopens vital markets, stabilizes economic ties, and marks a pragmatic shift in Canadian foreign policy, what Carney has described as value-based realism, a strategy that seeks to balance principles with practical needs. For everyday Canadians, this means the promise of more affordable electric vehicles, as tariffs are lifted and new technology partnerships are forged, making green transportation more accessible than ever before. It also brings renewed hope for agricultural communities battered by years of tariffs and trade barriers, offering a chance to rebuild livelihoods and expand exports to one of the world's largest markets. The agreement is being watched closely around the world, seen as a crucial test of whether open dialogue and negotiation can overcome deep disputes between major global powers. While the deal brings a wave of optimism, it also raises important questions about the long-term impact on Canadian industries, from manufacturing to technology, and how they will adapt to increased competition and new opportunities. The nature of this renewed partnership will be shaped by ongoing dialogue, mutual trust, and the ability to address challenges as they arise. In the following scenes, we'll break down the history of Canada-China relations, explore the key components of the new agreement, and examine what it could mean for Canada's future on the global stage. Ultimately, this is about forging a new path for Canada on the world stage, one that carefully balances economic interests with national values and sets a precedent for future international partnerships. The roots of this agreement trace back to the turbulent fall of 2024, a period marked by escalating tensions and uncertainty between Canada and China. That autumn, Canada imposed steep tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, steel and aluminum, aligning itself closely with the United States and the European Union in a coordinated effort to counter what they saw as unfair Chinese trade practices. The move was intended to protect Canadian industries and jobs, but it also signaled a dramatic shift in Canada's approach to its largest trading partner in Asia. In response, China retaliated swiftly, slapping harsh tariffs on Canadian canola, peas, pork and seafood. These measures devastated Western Canadian farmers, who had long relied on the Chinese market for their livelihoods, and plunged the two countries into a full-blown trade war that dominated headlines for months. The closure of the Chinese market cost Canadian pulse farmers hundreds of millions of dollars in lost sales. As Canadian exports dried up, Russian producers quickly stepped in to fill the gap, capturing market share that had taken Canadian farmers years to build. The canola industry, deeply reliant on China for exports, faced an existential threat. The impact rippled through prairie communities, leading to job losses, shuttered small businesses, and mounting anxiety about the future of rural economies. This standoff reflected a broader breakdown in diplomacy as trust between the two countries eroded. The Canadian government labelled China a security threat, prioritizing confrontation over cooperation, and diplomatic channels grew increasingly strained. The Carney government inherited this fractured relationship, facing the daunting task of restoring stability and economic opportunity. With public pressure mounting and industries suffering, the new administration was forced to act quickly and decisively. The New Deal is the result of that urgent mandate, a hard-won agreement forged through months of negotiation, aimed at rebuilding trust, reopening markets, and charting a new course for Canada-China relations. A central feature of the New Deal is Canada's dramatic reduction of tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, a move that signals a major shift in the country's approach to international trade and green technology. For years, high tariffs kept most Chinese EVs out of the Canadian market, but this agreement marks a new era of openness and competition. The previous 100% tariff drops to just 6.1% for up to 49,000 vehicles annually, the same number imported before the trade war began. This significant reduction is expected to make electric vehicles more affordable and accessible, while also encouraging a wider variety of models and brands to enter the Canadian market. Under the agreement, half of these imported EVs must be priced under $35,000 by 2030. This requirement is designed to ensure that more Canadian families can consider switching to electric vehicles, helping to accelerate the country's transition to cleaner transportation and reduce overall emissions. The quota, which represents less than 3% of the total Canadian auto market, is intended to boost affordability and competition. At the same time, it aims to protect domestic manufacturers by limiting the number of imported vehicles, striking a careful balance between consumer choice and industry stability. However, critics, especially those in Ontario's vital auto sector, warn that this influx of lower-priced imports could threaten Canadian jobs and future investment in local manufacturing. Unions and industry leaders are voicing concerns about the long-term impact on workers and the broader economy. The government now faces a complex challenge, delivering real benefits to consumers, such as lower prices and more choices, without undermining the strength and sustainability of the domestic auto industry. This calculated risk, balancing affordability, environmental goals, and economic security, remains the deal's most controversial trade-off, and its true impact will unfold in the years ahead. For Canadian farmers, the agreement is a lifeline. China will slash its tariff on canola seed from 100% to 15%, reopening a crucial market for prairie growers. Retaliatory tariffs on peas, canola meal, lobsters and crabs are also lifted, restoring hundreds of millions in lost exports. Pulse farmers in particular can now plan for the season ahead with renewed confidence. However, the 100% tariff on canola oil remains, signaling that not all disputes are resolved. Still, the overall package is hailed as a major win for agriculture, injecting much-needed stability and optimism into rural communities. For many, this is the first real hope after a year of economic hardship. This agreement marks a fundamental shift in Canada's foreign and economic policy. Carney's value-based realism seeks to double non-US exports by 2030, with a 50% increase to China specifically. Restoring agricultural trade is the first step toward diversifying Canada's economic partnerships. China's commitment to visa-free travel for Canadians is a diplomatic gesture, expected to boost tourism and business ties. Yet, re-engaging with China brings risks, especially with traditional allies like the US watching closely. The government must balance economic gains with core Canadian values and international relationships. The success of this pivot will be measured by its ability to deliver prosperity without compromising principles. The deal has split the country along regional lines. Ontario Premier Doug Ford fiercely opposes the EV concessions, fearing job losses and threats to the province's auto industry. In contrast, Saskatchewan Premier Scott Moe celebrates the restored agricultural access, calling it a victory for prairie farmers. The agreement is a grand bargain auto sector concessions for agricultural gains. This divide highlights the challenge of crafting national policy in a country with diverse economic interests. The federal government must now prove the deal benefits all Canadians, not just one region or industry. Managing these internal divisions will be as important as the deal itself. The official opposition, led by Pierre Poilievre, questions the durability of China's concessions and the wisdom of shifting from confrontation to partnership. Concerns focus on whether China's tariff reductions are permanent or a temporary tactic, and whether Canada has sacrificed long-term security for short-term gains. The opposition warns that deepening economic ties could compromise Canadian values and national security. This scrutiny forces the government to clarify enforcement mechanisms and contingency plans if China backtracks. The debate reflects two visions: pragmatic engagement versus cautious skepticism. The outcome will shape Canada's approach to China for years to come. The national conversation is far from over. Beyond trade, the agreement's human dimension is significant. Visa-free travel for Canadians removes barriers for tourists, students, families, and business leaders, fostering deeper cultural and personal ties. For families and entrepreneurs, this means easier connections and new opportunities. Prime Minister Carney insists that human rights remain on the agenda, even as economic ties deepen. The government's dual approach, economic engagement and principled advocacy, aims to build a mature, resilient relationship. The real strength of this partnership will be forged by people-to-people connections, not just government policy. The hope is for a relationship that can weather future storms. The 2026 trade agreement marks a turning point for Canada, closing a chapter of conflict and opening one of pragmatic engagement. The deal's success will be measured in reopened prairie fields, affordable EVs, and renewed travel and business ties. It's a foundation for a more stable, predictable relationship, one that serves all Canadians. Realistic engagement means defending our interests and values while navigating a complex world. The agreement is a bold step, inviting us to manage differences wisely and seek partnership where possible. Canada's prosperity now depends on adapting to global realities. The work of building that future has just begun.